All right, so we're back. You're tuned in to Hip Hop Beats and Things, episode 3. I am your host, K Hill, with my man, Finster Bundy. And today, wow, man, today we're talking to one of my favorite guys, man. One of my favorite people, not just favorite MCs, but favorite people. He's consistent, one of the most genuine cats I know. He has a strong business acumen. I call him the Oracle. He don't know that, you know what I'm saying? But he one of them cats I look at, you know, as the Oracle. No nonsense, you know, no time for foolishness. High standard of business acumen, like I said once before. And lyricism. I want to give it up to my man Cesar Comanche today of the Justice League and Conglomerate. And we definitely going to get into all of that during this interview. Comanche, you want to tell the people, you know, a little bit about yourself, and then I'm going to tell them about yourself.
Okay. Hey, man, that was a great intro. Man, oh, man. I mean, me and this guy have a lot of history. The brother K Hill. Well, my name is Cesar Comanche. I am co-founder with my brother Ninth Wonder of a crew called the Justice League. We just wanted to make dope music. At this time, it was the late 90s when we came together. The kind of music that we were mostly into, be it soulful, boom bap, it still was around, but it was at a low point. Mm-hmm. And that kind of was a thing that kind of, all of us in the crew, none of us grew up together. So that kind of brought us together because we were both of soulful boom bap lovers. And we were like, there's a void that needs to be filled. And we just put in work, and we had no idea what that was going to lead to. Then from just that original thought back in the 90s, cats ended up, working with our idols, touring all over the states and internationally, doing a lot of studio work with our idols also, and touring with some of our idols and becoming cool. And it's just like that respect and love, being spread everywhere. That's the legacy that, that hopefully people will get from our efforts and stuff, and the efforts we're still doing to this day.
Oh, I'm gonna sum it up. I'm gonna really bring it. I'm gonna bring it all together for everybody. So we're North Carolina based right now. Mm-hmm. From North Carolina, it's been a couple of like real important groups and conglomerates that has come from this area. We got Ski. Y'all might know him as Ski Beats. Right. Ski come from this area. We got Yag Front. We got Omniscience. Are you familiar with Omniscience? The Amazing, the record Amazing. Had the first rhyme of the month in the Source to be an artist from North Carolina.
Where are they from?
He's from a town called Bear Creek.
Word.
Yeah, small town.
Okay.
But very important to hip hop culture, North Carolina hip hop culture. The Justice League, wow, man. Very important to me personally. Very important movement to me personally because it kind of helped me define who I am today. When I first met these cats, I was like in between two worlds. I was a college kid, but I was also involved with a couple of street cats and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So I was always, I always had, a conscious style, always, was like really heavy into hip hop, but I was also, soaking up everything that I was around, and everything that I was being shown through the media and whatnot. So when you were just, and I'm not talking down on this at all, but when you were bombarded with like so much of the stuff that comes from the media and so much of the stuff that you're around, you try to embody that. But cats, you'll stick out like a sore thumb if that's not who you really are. Okay. So it leaked into my production style, which I don't regret not one bit. When I met these cats, man, I was in my Swiss Beats, Dame Grease, two producers that I respect and love, but it wasn't from a standpoint of me, admiring them or them being what's really in my heart. I was trying to follow what was hot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when I linked up with members of the Justice League through my man L.E.G.A.C.Y, they showed me that, look, man, you know, forget all the popularity, forget all the names on the marquee. You know, it's not about doing what's hot. It's about doing what's in your heart and what's in your soul. And it just so happened, man, that they was doing the music that I love. Wasn't popular then at that point. You know, I think
it was not.
I think when I met you guys, one of the main hip hop labels that was doing that kind of music was Raucous.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And that's why I fell so in love with the conglomerate, because I'm like, okay, it's like Raucous cats right here in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Like, dang, this is where I belong. You know what I'm saying? And you guys was college students just like I was. You met each other in college, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, sure did.
Same thing. And one thing I always wanted to be as a producer, I always wanted to be the wizard behind the curtain. Mm-hmm. I wanted a Wu-Tang. I wanted a Native Tongues. I wanted a Juice Crew. That's something that I always aspire to have. Like, I never wanted to rhyme, you know, because every time I rhymed, the cats who I was around was like, man, you sound old school. Well, all I was doing was lyrics, you know, flow and all that stuff. That's what I was about. They called me old school. But what they was really trying to say is, hey, you remind us of something that's been around.
Right. Yeah.
That's not, you know what I'm saying, that prevalent anymore. But when I met you guys, you know, y'all had that same style. And it's like, I'm trying not to get too sentimental because I'm trying to conduct a professional interview. But we're in Missie Ann Studios right now. And we're going to get behind where he got the title Missie Ann from. Mm-hmm. But we're in Missie Ann Studios right now. You can't see the full studio, but
you pretty much do. But go ahead.
So that's a couple of things missing. But I want to say, I want to jump out on a limb and say this right here. You don't know what God has planned for you, but I'm gonna jump out here and say this right here. If I had never stepped in this studio right here, I may not be conducting this interview. This studio changed my life personally. Like, a lot of things changed for me after the first time I stepped into this studio. So now I'm gonna turn this interview back to where we're supposed to be right now. So, Missie Ann Studios. Let's talk about how you name your studio. How you came up with the name of your studio.
Okay. Well, Missie Ann is Missy. Missie is my older sister. She's I'm a mom and dad, the baby girl.
Okay.
And I'm the baby boy. But I'm 10 years younger than her. You dig?
I dig. And, and it's important that you mention that, because I always thought that Missie Ann was mom.
Oh, no.
But it's actually...
But in a way, she was also.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because my mother was so much older, and like I got like my kind of soul foundation from my mom. But my parents were too old to be into hip-hop culture or rap music. Missy was at the right age. You see what I'm saying? Because like she's the same age as like cats we looked up to in the game, like graph writers, breakers, MCs, DJs. Like, she's their age. So she was like in the I remember my earliest memories of I can remember back to 79, 80 when Missy was playing. And I don't know how she knew it, because we was in small Jacksonville, North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? But she had these records like daggone African Bambaataa and the Soul Sonic Force. She had daggone different stuff. Like, she had Kraftwerk. I don't know how she had Kraftwerk number single, being from Jacksonville, North Carolina, but she knew. Somehow she was on it. So she was the one when I was tiny, just bringing me into this world, and she taught me about, like, in her own way of her limited knowledge, the Zulu Nation and all this other stuff, and I'm just listening to all this crazy stuff, like, you know, Egyptian Lover and all kind of stuff like that, and I'm just like, yo, this is crazy, you know? And she gave me my love for the culture, and I didn't even understand at the time it was a culture. You know, I'm just seeing it as in my mind, this is just how the world is.
Right.
Outside of my little tiny small southern coastal North Carolina town, you know? But it was like she gave me that love. So in that way, she's a parent to me as far as this culture is. And my love, and then me learning more, and my love and dedication to it, I got from her. My soul and everything, because my parents are both musicians.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
they had, in my album Squirrel and the Aces, I had 2 different versions of that albums.
Right.
That was my dad's group. My mom was also in that group for a while. This was in the 60s and early 70s when they had that. So it was just only right for when I finally got a working way to record and things like that myself, and then, you know, for the crew and stuff, to call it Missie Ann Studios, you know, to forever pay homage to her. And like, she doesn't even know how many people know her name.
She
has no idea.
Yeah, she can't even imagine, huh?
Yeah. And but it's the thing, and it's, you know, it just stuck, and that's just always what it, you know, is going to be. No matter where I go, that's where Missie Ann Studios is going to be.
All right, so Missie Ann Studios, first of all, I'm gonna tell you what I seen in the studio.
Okay.
And then I want you to tell me, you know, some of the things, because we could be here for a long time if you talk about everything you said.
Right.
But some of the things I witnessed in the studio, I had the pleasure of witnessing some of the listening being recorded in the studio. I think I was able to catch some of the skits and maybe like 1 or 2 jams. But I was definitely here for some of the skits.
Right.
I seen Jean Grey record Genius.
She did that whole album in here.
She did the whole album in the studio.
Jean Grey did do her whole album Genius in here.
Those are 2 great moments that stuck out to me in this studio here.
She did that whole album in a week.
Yeah. And I think I was here. I think I was here for both of the sessions.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we was able to even be a part of that process and whatnot.
Yep.
Who are some of just give us a short list of some of the groups, you know, not trying to name drop, but just to add, this is the D&D Studios of North Carolina. I know I jumped out there, but that's what it is, though. You know what I'm saying?
I want it to be, man, in my mind. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But
it's the D&D Studios of North Carolina.
Casual from Hieroglyphics.
See, I didn't know that.
Here.
Go ahead.
I mean, recorded here.
Right.
I know Murs has been in here, but he didn't record in here. You got Buckshot. Rest in peace, Sean Price. Smith and Wesson. Who else? Terminator X has done work in here. From Public Enemy. Right.
Was he on one of you guys?
No. He was doing. I don't know if you remember this. We about to get on the tangent, but we good.
It's all good.
Yeah. Jay Gunn.
I remember when he was a kid.
When Terminator X used to manage him. This was before Sam's.
I did not know that Terminator X used to manage Jay Gunn. Yeah. Wow, I did not know that. I thought they just like crossed paths. I think I heard about him doing a show with Terminator X. I did not know.
Yeah, he used to.
Wow.
And this is back. I mean, he might still have the ostrich farm, but he was in the ostrich. That was his business at that time. Who else? Of course, all the JLs recorded here. You recorded here.
You're good, man. I mean, I just wanted to, for the audience that's not familiar, I just want to, give them a rundown.
People, yeah.
One thing that I learned from you, Comanche, is and I didn't learn all of it, but it got my wheels spinning. Your business, your business practice, man. Let me make sure I say this right, and I want you to correct me if I'm wrong.
No, go ahead, man.
I know that when I was coming up, I used to see how the hieroglyphics went independent, and they started putting out their own records and whatnot, their merch. They really utilized the internet before the internet exploded. Mm-hmm. I seen it. But I didn't soak it in.
Right.
when Justice League came, Justice League was just putting out music. Like, just recording, giving out music for free. Like, or Ninth would take it to Duke radio station every Friday, play the jams. Like, no business in place. We love the culture. We love recording. We love doing music. Here's our jams of the week. But when things started, picking up for you guys, I noticed, I'm not sure how long Defenders of the Free World has been around. But I noticed, that's when I started noticing, your brand, Defenders of the Free World. Later on, I seen you get into distribution.
Wow, you remember a lot.
I seen you get into merchandise. These are things that I've learned from it. Like, if you look at right now, you got on the Comanche hoodie. I got on the Comanche t-shirt. It was cold outside, I told you, we for real up in here. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, what made you decide to
go start even think that way?
Because you did it early.
Yeah.
Before it became the thing to do.
Yeah.
You did it early.
Right.
You guys was really able to jump in, via the internet and really utilize the hell out of it before it became like out of this world now, so accessible, to everybody. You guys got it before. In a nutshell, you guys got it before everybody did, before a lot of people did. And I just want to, I want to know right now what kind of gave you the, what kind of gave you the oomph to kind of start doing
step in that realm.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I didn't understand this about myself at that time, but I pay attention to stuff in a weird way.
Right.
And I'm not necessarily weird, but maybe I look at things from an unconventional angle, and I'm paying attention to stuff that maybe somebody is not paying attention to. When I'm watching different acts, different stuff that we grew up listening to, or seeing how they move and stuff like that, and I'm like, hey, like, for example, Wu-Tang logo.
Right.
And I remember that's one of those logos, Run DMC's logo. These things is iconic, and I'm like, that itself is something people want outside of music, like what it stands for.
Right.
And I'm just thinking, like, I started thinking that, and then I started thinking about all the different cats, especially in rap. I was like, they have other things that have nothing to do with music itself. And I was like, people need something else besides this. And then I was like, we need to create a universe for people to buy into. Not just music is not enough.
Right.
So then I was thinking, well, how do I do that? Like, okay, because even the coming out with an album, when I came out with Wood Nichols in 2000, people weren't doing that back then. Like,
that's right.
Shout out to Edgar Allan Flo. He turned me on to, and it was very expensive back then to press up a record. Yeah. But he turned me on to Magnetic Air, and he was like, yeah, like, this is a Canadian manufacturing thing, and they do, like, whoever's, like, it was like, people as big as Madonna all the way down to whatever. So I went to that same place,
right.
And he did his first joint there too, and we were just like, I just saved up, and I was like, okay, I need to sell this. So I went around, and that was the beginning of me turning into a professional. This was in 2000.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Early.
Right. So
early.
I was only, I think, 24 years old. And I was going around in the car, and finally, when I got the box of CDs, I was like, I'm going around driving by myself. Nobody knows who I am, because there is no track record at this time.
Right.
Nobody cares about the Justice League. Nobody cares. So I'm going to, like, for example, I'll go to Greenville, where the black barbershops. Go to barbershops, go in there, don't know nobody from nothing, and I was with just a book bag and some CDs in it, and like talking to strangers, and people were buying the CD off of just the fact.
Okay.
I went through the trouble to print this up. It's it looks as professional as anything else.
Right, it did.
This is not just a CDR.
Right.
This is like, and they were just buying it off of just that. And then I would go in the same day, go to Jacksonville, do the same thing again, go to the mall, go to the black barbershops, go to Wilmington, do the same thing.
So you did the out of the trunk. Yeah. You did the out of the trunk practice.
First, yeah, because I had no grounds. There was no track record. So I was like, I myself, because the JL already existed at the time. Okay. I did this by myself. Nobody was with me. They would be in here working. I would leave and be like, okay, early in the morning Saturday, because I was working a 9 to 5, I'm gone. And in one day, I'm hitting 3 different cities by myself. There was no GPS, no nothing.
I was going to ask you. Yeah. I was going to ask you. It's funny that it's good that you brought that up, because I was going to ask you, how did you guys skip that process? Like, from where I stood, it's like JL never went through the out of the trunk process of it. But you telling me...
Yes, I did. Wow. I was the first person, once the JL existed, I was the first person to put out a record.
I remember
L.B. didn't come out till 2 years later.
Right.
My second record came out the same time The Listening came out. But this going around... And I did it, and then I went west. I went to Charlotte, I went to Winston-Salem, I went to Asheville, Durham, I'm here. I'm doing that, like, on the weekends.
Right.
Just talking to strangers. And, you know, and then hitting up anybody I knew, maybe from high school, I knew that listened to rap, and, you know what I'm saying? So that was the beginning, and that gave me the bug that, like, if I can do that and talk to strangers who don't care nothing about me or not a fan, nothing, then I can, once we build a fan base, I can sell at that point. That's not going to be no problem. But I was like, okay. Then I started looking at rock bands, because I was like, all these rap cats, you know, that we came up with in our era. I was like, I'm looking at these rock bands. They got shirts. They got all this stuff. And I was like, why do rap cats not do that?
Right.
So then with CJB, he knew a screen printer. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yo, because I didn't have a logo at that time. So at the time, well, he can't. Defenders. This is kind of a mashup of the silhouette of me and the Defenders of the Free World logo. So we were like, okay, we're going to make Defenders of the Free World shirts and Wooden Nickel shirts. So we went. He was like, this is how they do it. He showed me the screen presser thing.
Who showed you?
CJB.
Okay, so CJB is Chris Bushnell.
Right, Chris Bushnell.
Okay, that's another thing that I seen from you guys.
Right.
At the time, Chris Bushnell was you guys' graphic designer.
Yeah.
Or your graphic designer.
Yeah.
These are things. This is what I'm trying to tell you.
Because he was a friend. Because when we were he was just at a show. Him and his friends just happened to.
So he did it off the strength of being a fan.
Talked,
right.
And I'm listening to what type of stuff he's into, and it built from there.
Okay. Yeah. So like I told you, I'm in between two worlds. Right. Street cats sell out of the trunk.
Right.
We really not worried about a graphic designer, because all we was gonna do is take a dope photo in our flyers gear. Wham! That's the cover. Right, you know what I'm saying? When I met you guys, I used to hear little sayings like, "Yo, don't put your face on the cover." You know, just little funny stuff like that. Like, don't put your face on the cover. You guys was concerned with the cover being like a piece of art. Something that you can blow up and set up in your house. Like, if you look at all these posters right now, you guys can't see it, but if you look at all the posters in the room, it look like artwork. Like, straight up art, you know. Yeah. And that's another thing I learned from you guys, the importance of artwork. That's an element that I didn't know as far as, you know, putting out music. You know, that came from you guys' business acumen. Because I think for you, it was Chris Bushnell. For Little Brother, it was F.W.M.J., something like that.
Yeah, and then
I'm probably messing it up.
They had Slop Funk Dust.
Slop Funk Dust, yeah.
And, it's like, the beauty of it was that, you know, as the music was reaching more people and people started getting into different aspects of it, they had skill. These people had skills of their own, and and this was the beginning. You know, the 2000s was the beginning of the talent actually interacting with the fan.
Right.
That was a new thing.
Right.
People don't realize that before that, if you was, you know, you were the talent, you didn't directly interact with fans.
Yeah.
That was like the people we came up with didn't do that. they had to evolve and learn to do that later because of the way the world changed. But we was those first cats.
And that's a tough transition,
exactly.
too. Yeah,
because
I see a lot
being
of...
a star was not... You wasn't interacting
right.
and doing all this other stuff.
You was on a hill.
Yeah,
you was on
exactly.
a hill. Yeah.
So they had to, so we were... I feel like we were the first generations of artists that did that. And we came up in that and learning how to build and network with all these different people. And like, you built your fan base by building families in a bunch of different cities all over, maybe your state, then the nation, and then the world. So if you go to Paris, all you got to do is be like, yo, boom, 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 I'm coming to Paris. And you got a whole squad of fam that's got you.
Even up till today.
Exactly.
Bro.
Exactly.
And I want to go into that too.
Okay, yeah.
Another part of your business, acumen, along with the merch, along with the distribution, was the utilization of the message board.
Right.
And you guys had a message board called The Lawn.
Right.
And you see it all on The Lawn. You see great music. You see fights. You know what I'm saying? You see, you see brotherhood. You get new connections to resources out of town.
Yep.
I definitely benefited from being a member of The Lawn.
Yeah, man.
You can even find out that some of the members, man, like went on to do like some great, great, huge things.
Like, so it's like people who are people,
right?
Like names that cats may or may not know.
Remember The Lawn,
that
right?
They were on The Lawn. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Kids, I'm gonna tell you what a message board is. Okay, a message board was like it's still one around today. A very big one called OK Player, and what it is can you explain the message board?
A message board is pre what we call now social media, and it's like one place where it's a whole community of people that go, and it's no algorithm, there's no whatever, it's just you start a topic or thought or whatever, and then people can chime in and talk about it under your topic. And I mean, we had different sections that subject matters to be like, this subject matter goes in this section, this, but most of them are that way, and it's not like a heavy thing, it's more based on text and not photographs.
And it was also a way for your fans to interact with you guys.
Yeah.
It was also a way for other artists, to possibly, find their way into opportunities, with other artists or other promoters or other DJs. Like it was a hub. It was a hub for talent.
Yeah, all we were really was the bait for people to join in.
Right.
And then people established all types of stuff on their own, be it with us or had nothing to do with us. It's just this is where it happened.
Yep.
It's whole humans that exist today
because of the law.
Exactly. If it wasn't for the message board, they would not exist.
That's incredible.
Real.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
I know for me personally, I've been able to do some dope records on the strength of The Lawn. I've been able to visit some dope places, do shows in some dope places, got friendships that I have right now. Almost 20 years later?
No, it's 20
almost
years.
20 years later, you know what I'm saying, off of the strength of...
no, it is 20 years.
It is 20 years? I didn't want to date us like that. I knew, but, I ain't want to... But, like I said, it was a very, very good resource, before the Facebooks and the Twitters and, MySpace and all that stuff,
But it was OK Player that it's one of those things, when I say I look at things different...
Right.
I respected OK Player, but in my mind, I was like, I don't understand why we can't just make our own OK Player.
Right.
And that's what me and Bushwinnell came up with The Lawn. And then, I came to JL about it, and then they bought it. Everybody bought into it. And then once we had it ready to go, Then and the thing is, you know what? I don't even know how we advertised it now.
What, the long?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I think it was I want to say it was some word of mouth, man.
Yeah, it had
you guys might have been putting it on the projects.
Think I know I was. I think other people might have been too, but I know I was. But other than that, I was just trying to think like, shit, yeah.
And then Forge, DJ Forge, shout out to DJ Forge. Yeah. He had a spinoff called Digital Phonics.
Mm-hmm.
He was a DJ. He put, a lot of the jams up there, you know what I'm saying, from the weekend and whatnot, or jams that artists seeing him. And bruh, he crushed me so bad when he took his site down. I'm like, Forge, like,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Man. But gosh, man, Justice League, man. Wow, Justice League. It's like, even though the name comes from DC characters or whatever, it's like you guys established a universe. Mm-hmm. Like everybody came in together,
right?
And everybody, not branched off from each other, but everybody got their own fans.
Yeah, like
you know what I'm saying?
Pretty much was New Edition, man.
But I think you guys might have did it a little bit tighter than New Edition.
Well, I'll say this much, like, and I love New Edition.
Yeah, me too. God knows, like, I meant no disrespect for that, yo.
Me learning about their history and exactly like all that time from the beginning of the 80s all the way to the 90s, they didn't really make any money at all.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
That also made me want to make moves personally the way I wanted to make the moves and have ownership.
Right.
Because I didn't want to, and I'm not trying to single them out, but there's so many of us with that same story. You dig?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be another statistic to where I'm putting some other culture's kids through college into perpetuity.
Right.
And I don't have no kids, but my kids just are like this.
Yeah.
I didn't want that to be, and that's the reason why I did stuff the way I personally did, because JL was, to clear it up for people, Justice League is a crew. Like, we're not a music group. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so we were a bunch of acts who just associated with each other, and we worked with each other, and it was like a better way for us to make things work, because some strong suits I have, another cat might not have, and some strong suits they have, I don't have. Right. So it just helped, But no, that was my main thing. I didn't want any type of ownership of my creativity to belong to anyone else.
Right.
At most partnerships. That's what I wanted to keep it, and that's when I did my label deals, because I put out albums on ABB and P-Vine Blues Interactions, which is a label out of Tokyo, and ABB's out of Oakland, California. They were all partnerships. Like, I never was one of their artists.
Right. Okay.
We, at the point when I started doing stuff with labels, and then I forgot, in London, Beat Hut, I did a project with them too. It was like D.O.T.F.W and Beat Hut, D.O.T.F.W and ABB, D.O.T.F.W and P-Vine Blues Interactions comes together to make whatever this
came later on, though.
This didn't start until my third and fourth album, to where I was now doing label deals. Yeah,
Little brother was on ABB.
Right, they were on ABB before I was.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so would it be fair to say that with the success of the group later on, that gave you the leverage to make a move like that?
It helped.
Okay.
Because at this point, so by the time it got to 2003, 2004, this is what it got to. And this will tie into distribution too, which is why I started a distribution company. Fans started, because of the message board and other things, chiming in about JL, different, mostly Little Brother as the biggest thing, and then all different members in one way or another. But it was like, we can't get the albums though. Even when ABB, and this is no slight to them, they weren't able to get the records to the people fast enough. So then, because I'm looking at stuff because I'm a person that when I see a gap, then I'm like, that's opportunity to me.
Being able to recognize a gap is a gift, within itself.
And I was like, okay. Somehow, I'm in a record store and I'm thinking, these records, these CDs, these tapes are getting in here somehow.
Right.
How is that happening? And then, because of touring and things like that, I meet Amy, who is Nicolet's wife now.
Because she was helping with the distribution at the time.
Right. She's the one who showed me how all that worked.
You know what? Yo, shout out to Amy Flint, because when I asked you that question originally, I was supposed to say I learned from you and Amy Flint about distribution. Yeah. So you can go ahead. I'm sorry, bro.
So she once she showed me how that worked, then it was like, I was like, well, do you want to do this?
Right.
First I was saying it for me.
Right.
And then once we got that rolling, then other cats in JL started seeing it. It was like, y'all are like really doing this. So then it turned to, we were doing it for, don't get me wrong, it wasn't like ABB and Red and different cats who was not doing that too. But then I, with D.O.T.F.W, supplemented and was like filling in the gaps. So we wake up, we'd start like, let's say, sometimes 4 or 5 in the morning, 3 in the morning, because we're now contacting people in Europe, in Japan, we were directly distributing albums from here all over the world.
What other responsibilities did you guys have? Like, what was that process like? What can you kind of give me a...
So let's just say, okay, we call a record store.
Right.
And then at this point, because of I saw people were getting records, so I'm thinking like people are going to record stores and they're asking for paper guys, they're asking for the listening, and the record store don't got it.
Right.
And they're like, who is this? So we're calling a record store, D.O.T.W. We represent these are. I had a fax machine. We're faxing, this is the list. My name on it, Little Brother, Edgar Allan Flo, the Just League. Then it was like, cats was like, oh, these are the cats people been asking about.
You did it through a fax machine.
Yeah, right? yeah. And sometimes emails, but it was like, and then calling and like, this is our roster of artists that we're distributing. And they would be like, oh, we need 12 of this. This wasn't consignment. They were like sending like, and then we looked at invoices from like when you got something from, you ordered something from somewhere, and we just copied that same way to do it. And we made our own invoice, D.O.T.F.W, all this. These are the items. Here's the total. Here you go. And they're sending us checks. So then now we get the orders, send out the orders. We got a FedEx account. We learned how to set that up. We set up a UPS account too. Right. So we're doing that, shipping it out. We get checks. We're just getting checks in the mail. Okay. Yeah.
Tell the people how consignment works.
Oh, consignment.
Consignment
is when there's a difference. Okay, so consignment is when you, let's just say, you're putting out an album. Right. And then you got these CDs or whatever, vinyl, and you're like, hey, I'm giving y'all 10, whatever. And they write up a little, ledger. Yep. So Yes, so sir. You're giving them 10 records and you're like, and then they're like, hey, how much do you want to sell these for? Or how much do you want these to be sold in stores? Because they're saying we're going to put like, I don't know, let's just say $3 on top of what you're selling it for. Right. So let's just say you're like, okay, I want my thing to sell around $12, $13. So let's just say the artist wants 10, y'all sell it for 13 in the record store. So they're like, okay. So you give them the product, 10 of these. They don't give you no money. There's no money exchanged then. What happens is, let's just say you come back in a week or two, and how much they've sold they'll give you, if you sold 10 joints, then they'll give you $30. Mm-hmm. They'll keep the other money that they put on top of it,
right.
but you're not getting paid until after they sell. So that's consignment.
Okay.
You're leaving product in a record store. Mm-hmm. You come back and you like, hey, did any of the blah, blah, blah sell? Mm-hmm. And then they'll give you money if it did. Now, the straight up distribution is, no, the record store is buying the stuff.
That's distribution,
from you, right? Straight up buying it.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. Returns in distribution. If you get returns, and thank goodness we didn't.
Right.
Our stuff sold. Then now, if they send you back the product, and a lot of times it's like you got to send them back 80% of the money that they paid you in the first place. So returns is something you do not want.
Right.
You dig? Because here's the thing. So pretty much the artist, when you have a distributor like how we did it, the artist was doing a consignment deal with us, D.O.T.F.W, which means in K Hill, which I did distribute your album. Matter of fact, now that I think about it, good sir.
Yes, you did.
And anyway, I completely forgot about that.
You know what? I forgot too.
Yeah,
that's the crazy part. I forgot because I thought I only did underground hip hop and hip hop site.
Right. And those were big back then.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So what happens is, like K Hill, for example, would be like, we want you to, distribute our stuff too. And a lot of times for D.O.T.W, it worked well if the artist had some of, not like they were in jail, but they had some affiliation. Either we worked together because it helped us sell it.
Right.
Because once it's like, oh, K Hill, and we tell the record store this on the phone, and they're like, oh yeah, we've heard JL or him on because you were on Ninth's. When you
Dream Merchant.
You were on Dream Merchant.
Yeah.
So that was an easy selling. Well, K Hill was on Ninth, Miss Dream Merchant.
Track number one, y'all. Track number one.
And then they be like, oh, okay, cool. We'll take... I mean, because there's no way for us to play this music for anybody. It has to be your name has to somehow make sense to where they see dollar signs beside your name when they think about it. So that's how we're selling everything. Yeah. Like, we distributed Wordsworth's first album.
I did not know that.
And that's around the time. No, actually, me and Wordsworth became cool before that. But yeah, we did. I completely forgot about that. Mirror Music, we distributed that too. So it's like you got to have something going like that, a name that the record store owner, no matter where it is, their customer is saying it and asking them about it. And then I was like, yo, like we need to fill that void. So then we started distributing. And then once we get the checks, then that's the how consignment kind of is with the artist and the distribution company. So then let's just say we sold 20 of your joints, then whatever the amount we're supposed to pay you, then I had like the D.O.T.W business checking account. Then I'm writing K Hill a check for, or whatever your business is, for that amount. And then there you go. I keep whatever I put on top and you get, send a line shirt, and that's how we did it. We were doing like between, and this is like I said, this was just distribution. In our heyday of distributing, we were doing between 50 and 70,000 a year.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Was you guys mailing the product out yourselves?
Yeah, ourselves.
That's work.
Yep.
Packaging,
they put it in the car, in the trunk.
That is so much work.
To, because when FedEx Kinko's merged,
man,
I love that.
I bet.
Just dropping joints off and be like, it all had the packing slip, the barcode, everything ready. Like, there you go. Like, yeah, man, like that was crazy. So it was like at the same time, I'm, working in Missie Ann, I'm being a recording artist myself, running a distribution company, doing shows. Yeah, all that at the same time. Okay,
so now that we're in the streaming, digital era and whatnot, how have you adjusted?
I was talking to Finster earlier, and what ended up happening is a cat that I did a show with, part of the low budget crew, Double J.
Okay.
He is
Double J. Wow.
He is the
Wow.
CEO.
He the man.
Right. He's the CEO of Foundation Media.
Yeah.
So when they like first started their company, he hit me up. I was like one of the first artists he digitally distributed.
Wow.
And like he actually, and like I was in on such the ground level because it's not my nature. He actually offered me. He was like, "Look, man, if you want to be in on this in like a corporate level,
He offered you equity.
He offered me a piece of anybody that like I directed to Foundation Media, and like this was the beginning,
Right.
And I was like, and I was honored by that, but it's not my nature.
I was about to say you just don't sound like
because
you do
I
that.
felt like then I'm now somebody an artist has to split their else they got to split their money with.
You're part of You're part of
Right.
the problem that you're trying to run away from. I mean, that
well, not
you're trying to get
necessarily
away
a
from.
problem. It's just I understand it in that context, but his company,
Right.
So he needs to me. Like, let's just say if I told him, K-Hill, like that's a good person to have,
Right.
I don't want now because you're gonna get the way the deal is gonna work is the DSP is gonna get a third, they're gonna get a third, and you're gonna get a third,
Right.
right?
Right.
But if I'm in the equation,
Then that's another piece of the
then
pie
that's
that's sliced
less
away.
you get.
That's right. Yeah.
And I don't want to be in that equation.
Right.
I'd rather it be direct.
Right.
Like I'll make what I'm gonna make my own way. I don't want to be another cat like taking a piece.
That's what I was trying to say in
Yeah.
a nutshell.
Right.
That's what I was trying to say. Do you know how many people would have took that?
Oh,
though?
yeah,
like
for sure.
real. That's passive income at its finest.
Because
bro.
the thing about it is that Foundation Media Company now is like big.
Yeah, I know they
They got all kind, and just think if I was like getting a piece of but that
right,
yeah.
right. So okay,
But to
sorry,
even
go
add to
ahead.
that, I got into DSP and he was schooling me on that early, and that's what made me dissolve D.O.T.F.W. Because
So
I
you
already
dissolved
saw,
it?
yeah, I already saw where it was going. Yeah, no, we never went to where stuff is getting all messed up, and no, I was like, yeah, I already see where this is going.
right.
So I'm gonna have to, and then a few years later, stores started closing down, and but I was like, there ain't no need for me to do that anymore because the game is.
But
changing.
you still, as an artist though, you still do physicals yourself though,
Yeah,
right? Okay,
yeah.
cool.
For touring.
Right, for touring.
Yeah.
Right. It's like people get to take a piece of you home with them.
Exactly, because to me, if I don't do that, then I'm just some cat that they heard at a show.
Yeah.
Like, something of me has to be part of their life from now on. Now.
Right.
And that's the only way, in my mind, I can build a fan base and maintain a fan base. Other than that, you just was another cat they may or may not remember.
Yeah, he was dope. Where can I find his music? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
Yo, so Jacksonville. You from the Jacksonville.
Right.
Edgar Allan Poe is from Jacksonville as well.
Yep.
Tell me about some of the places that you have seen from being from a small place called Jacksonville. What have you seen throughout your journey? Some of the places you may have been.
Man.
Talk about it, man.
Brother, look, man.
Because you gotta understand now.
I know you get it because you're from Eastern North Carolina.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, never in a million years have I ever thought that I would meet or make records period.
That ain't real.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's out there, but it's not gonna happen for me.
That's on TV. That ain't something we can do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
But yeah, man. What are some of the places you visited? And just give me some highlights real quick, man.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like, so the first time I ever left the country because I was before that. So first off, just doing a show, period, and it's like you're performing something you created, and I'm just doing this for context. and somebody you don't know or whatever, maybe some people you do know don't know, you see people reacting to it.
Yeah.
You see the energy, you see the vibration, and you're like thinking to yourself, like, you know, this was just something I was writing and vibing with the beat, and we did this, and it's like somehow it's affecting people.
Right.
Okay, since I said that, so first, then it's now like, okay, you're doing a show. And, like, of course, as far as me really doing shows, I, like, kind of got my sea legs here in the Triangle, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill area. Right. But when you leave here, so you're just like, okay, I'm performing for some people I know, some people I don't. And I feel like, okay, you get familiar. You're like, of course, this is a safe space. So now you go out and now, like, let's just say maybe the promoter knows who you are. Maybe their friend knows who you are, but the rest of these cats, you know, I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee, let's just say for the first time performing, don't know you from Adam.
Right.
You know? And then you go and you tear it down in front of these people. And then you're just like, like maybe I'm working with something here. So, fast forward a little bit, this is in 2003, 4 now. I'm in San Francisco. I get hired to perform between a doubleheader, the San Francisco Giants.
Right.
And it's this venue called Jellies that's like right outside of Pac-Bell Park. That's what it was at the time. I don't know if it's still stadium, the same one now. But, so I get in there, and it's like it's session musicians, like, and I probably am the only black person at this entire place. And we're talking about not white people my age, because you got to think at this time I'm still in my 20s.
Right.
These are white people who are in their 40s and 50s and 60s. And I'm like, yo, like, I set myself up for failure. Because it was it was a band up there, all white guys.
Right.
A band up there doing their thing, and they were just the atmosphere music for this gathering. And of course, it's people with money and all these. I was like, oh my God, like, I'm about to lose finally tonight.
Right.
Yeah, so they're doing that, and then I go up, and it's like, okay, man, it's your turn. I go up there, and then the plan was for me to jam with the band.
Right.
So I'm trying to, because I can work with a band, and it's kind of intuitive. I didn't know I could until I did. Right. And I'm like trying to work with them, and they're paying me no attention. And I'm trying to start something, and they're just like, nah, B, that ain't it. Like, they just getting it in, like, nah. They're not, and like, they're not trying to work with me at all.
Right,
like,
right.
Oh, man. So then, I'm like, you know what? I told my handler in San Fran at the time, I told them, give me my show CD.
Yeah.
They had a CD player. I just put that mug in, and then I started doing my stuff and canceling the band completely out.
Right.
These cats, all these people, I guarantee you, out of, it probably was like, let's just say 200 people in this place, maybe 2 of them listen to rap ever. Right. And we're talking about maybe like whatever the most mainstream thing you can think about. I'm doing what I'm doing, getting it in. Everybody stops what they're doing and then starts coming closer to the stage. And then into my second jam, cats is like rocking with me, and the band is just sick right now looking at me. And I'm like doing, like, I mean, unadulterated. I'm performing just like if I was performing for you or Fist, you know what I'm saying? Right. And they're like into it, and like we're talking about white men in the 60s, just you know, like doing thing, and I'm telling people to do, and they're doing this with me and stuff. Right. And then like, I'm like, all right, well then, you know, thank y'all so much. That's the end of my, you said, and then everybody's like, no, like, do some more. And I was like, nah, this was my time. This was all they, you know, hired me out to do. And I'm looking at the band out there.
Yo, this is a great story, bro.
They're looking at me sick.
God, this story is
and I'm
great,
like, all right,
man.
y'all got it. And I just walk off stage.
But you know what, though? You know what? I'm going to tell you why that story makes so much sense, though, man, because because of your content, man, the type of artist you
Yeah.
are. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you had one up there with some more rah-rah.
Yeah, because
you know
that's what
I'm saying?
they would have done expect.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting.
Yeah.
But you came with some poetry, dog.
Yeah.
Like, straight up and down, you came with some soul. You came with some poetry, man. And it's just like, you can't, it's undeniable.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and your stage show, man, your stage show is just, it's off the chain.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? It's
thank
energetic,
you.
it's off the chain. It's well thought out. You know, they couldn't deny it. So that makes so much sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, man. Nah, because coming from a cat like you, like, because I respect your performance, you always come with it. And I'm like, man, like, that means a lot, brother.
Word up.
Yeah.
Word up.
And another time, I just throw this one in there, too.
Okay.
And me and Superstition and Eternia did our first, and like, I'm still in my 20s at this time, when we did our first, and that's crazy for me to think about, our first European tour. I was still in my 20s. And we got to Paris. I cannot bring up
I think I heard the story.
because we're on camera, I will not bring up
Right.
who it was we were doing the show with. But
Right.
that cat is actually a legend.
Okay. Right.
And they wanted to put, and they were already feeling some kind of way because they're not from North Carolina. This is in Paris.
That's right.
The show, the Parisians named the show North Carolina's finest. Okay? This cat was out and had a name before us. And he was from a different side of the United States.
But the name of the show was North Carolina's Finest.
Yes. And they put the NC State logo as the S. Like, and I'm not, we had nothing to do with that.
Right.
And like, now that I think back about it, I feel like they were feeling some kind of way about that.
Okay.
And then they wanted to put, because what was going on in Europe, there would be like, and it was this Sabotage Entertainment was the biggest show promoters there. And Karen, who's the CEO of it, she's like, she lived in Berlin. She had mad tours going on at the same time. Right. It could be, I'm not even making this up. Literally, it was like my tour, Montel Jordan, the Boom Back Project, like Dawson. It would be going on at the same time, but sometimes you would interlock on one date. That's just how the routing was. So now it was two tours combined. No, the Paris was one of those. And it was that legendary MC's joint. So they wanted him to go in between Superstition and me.
So it's not his joint no more then.
Well, the thing about it is, it wasn't in the first place. But anyway, I was like, nah, I'm not feeling that.
Right.
I was like, he can go after me. Him and his crew can go after me, because I was like, the way Attorney of Superstition and me, we had done so many shows together on that thing. We liked the vibration.
Y'all got records with each other too, right?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Superstition and Attorney both had. Squirrel and the Aces was new.
Right.
And that's when I got my first European tour off the strength of the vibe, that thing. And I was like, and they were asking me, who do you want on it? And I was just like, on the tour. And I was like, somebody else is who I asked first. Somebody else is who I asked to be. It was another woman who happens to be an MC that I asked to be on Up and Down before Eternia. And she faked the funk on it. And I'm not going to bring her name up.
But you know I'm going to ask you off camera.
Off camera, yeah.
Okay.
Eternia.
She killed it, bro.
Killed it. Yeah. And then and I didn't even know this, but she told me after that song, her trajectory.
Yeah, she killed that joint.
And
bro.
she's like a thing now, killing it, right? Anyway, so I was like, okay, Superstitions on Squirrel and the Aces, Eternia's on Squirrel and the Aces. So I'm like, we all got different sets, but guess what? I'm doing Superstitions on the grind. We're going to do that in my set. We're going to close. At the time, Up and Down was my biggest song. Right. So I would end Up and Down, and then me and Eternia would end my set, on that joint. So I was like, that's the formula. We can't mess that up. So I said, put them on after. Look, man, Eternia this is in Paris, so a lot of y'all don't understand, like, you're an artist, but I'm going to drop something on you. So a lot of times in Europe, when you have your sound check and load in, these cats had like a huge table of food, and we all, the crew and everybody, they fed us after sound check. And it was like they cooked it. It wasn't like some stuff they ordered. It was like, yo. So we're in there eating, and they were like, okay, we finished eating. We're going to go back to the hotel. We're like, the hotel wasn't far. So we just had to walk down this one street in Paris, and it was like right there, like to the left. We came outside. It was like maybe an hour or two till doors. It was a line going down the street and around the corner at this Paris show. This was, the doors wasn't even opening for another hour and a half.
Right.
And we're walking by these people, and people just looking at us like, oh, talking and stuff, and then we're just like, what? Like, what in the world? And like, everybody's like, oh, happy to see. We're just like, yo, like. And we looked around the corner and just people. So we go to the daggone store. Me and Superstition were roommates. We was like, nigga. Like, man, we was hyped. We came back to that show like a superstar. And then Eternia got on. And I mean, we're talking about it's completely packed, sold out, like up in the rafters. Right. And this is our first time in Paris. And it wasn't like...
So this is your first time, and it's already packed out.
Right.
So it's already giving credibility to
because see, 9 years ago, because Little Brother was the first to start touring internationally. Okay. And when he came back, because I think they did a show like in Japan or something.
Right.
The way he told me, he looked me dead in my face, he said, man, people are listening. That's all he said. He said, trust me.
People are listening.
This is not in vain.
Right.
Yeah. And so we did that, and then it got to me, and I was like, yeah, it's time for me to close this thing out. And then I was like, and then like they announced my name, and then the whole thing erupted like just like cheers, you know what I'm saying? And then I go out, I just walk, cause you know me, like I don't just be out on stage. Like, my whole intro runs first, all that people was hype, and then I emerge from the shadows, going straight into my thing, right? And then it went crazy. So we got to the middle of my set, and you know, like I like to just talk, and I riff sometimes to the crowd. I got to the point, and I'm holding the mic like this. And then I just look out the crowd for a second, and then I put the mic up to my mouth, and the whole crowd just goes, like that. And all I'm doing is like putting the mic up to my mouth. And then I put it down, and they get quieter. Then I lift it again. Like that. And I'm looking at Superstition Attorney, so they're on the side of the stage crying. And I'm like, yo, like that. And I'm standing there, and then, of course, and then when me and Attorney did, you know, up and down, it was crazy. So these cats come on, these legendary, who's their leader. The rest of the cats, whatever. But they have a name. One of them has a name too, but the leader was legendary. He came on stage, and like we went to the merch table because I learned quick. Like once you're done with your stuff, because you see me do it.
Head to the merch table.
You don't see me nowhere but the merch table.
That's right.
We went to the merch table. Man, why? When this crew and their legendary leader started performing, the entire crowd started going back to while they were performing, to the merch table. And this, that, and the third, and we just kept, we was signing and selling and signing and selling, and they felt some kind of way, and I heard on stage, you know, these other cats want to take 10,000 hours on their set, and they taken away from...
Oh, man.
I was mad, but I laughed it off, and Superstition immediately went, and confronted. And next thing I'm like, oh no. So I'm still signing and selling.
I have heard the story.
And then
I heard the other half of the story though.
You ever heard of the Snow Goons?
Yes.
So Manu, DJ Illegal, he was our tour manager.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how I have history with them. Like, he was our tour manager. This is before they blew up like that.
Right, right.
They were at the infancy stages of that at that time.
Right, okay.
He comes, he's from Karlsruhe, Germany. He was like, Comanche. He said superstition has confronted. He said he's by himself backstage. He has confronted them. Man, I beeline down there, and then I got, because where the merch was upstairs, beeline down there, went backstage. Man, it is a heated argument back there. So now I'm in there. We're all, Eternia stayed doing her thing.
Right.
Me and Superstition is arguing with all these other cats. Like, it got, man, it was bad. Thankfully, we didn't like physically fight,
right.
But it was heated. But the thing that threw me off, because like I said, I look at things from weird angles. Mm-hmm. We were in an argument with all that legendary dude's crew, not him.
Right.
But that dude didn't check his crew. So that showed me he felt the same way.
Right.
And I was like, okay. Yeah, I see what's going on. Because I was peeping him in the corner. He was sitting just like this, not saying a word. And I was peeping him, and I was like, okay, so you're the leader. So these cats are speaking for you.
It's usually like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually like that.
Yeah.
Have you ever crossed paths with that same guy again? Or was that...
The funny thing about it is we have...
a great friendship
friends
now.
in common.
Oh, okay.
We
Wow.
don't have a friendship, but we have friends in common.
Right.
And it's just like interesting. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, but nah. And I mean, the fact just being in Paris, and I mean, being in like, perform East Germany, like being somewhere like, you know, I'm in north Sweden. I had done a show, and it's in the middle of the summer. Like, it's almost midnight, and it's still daytime. Like, me seeing stuff like that.
Right.
And it's all from, like I said, we're from Eastern North Carolina. That
crazy,
nobody
man.
pays attention to.
Right.
That part of North Carolina. And to see, like, I got countless stories and all kind of stuff, but just to have experience and seeing these things, and you're just like, y'all have no idea where I'm from.
Right.
And this is what happens to people, in my mind, from New York or L.A. or Chicago or you know what I'm saying, Atlanta or something. Right. Not from Eastern North Carolina.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I'll never, that'll never be something I become jaded to.
Right.
You know.
Eternia is from Canada.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Would it be fair to say that the union with Eternia and Superstition are products of the law? Or did you know these cats before?
Superstition, I want to say, kind of closely happened at the same time. I didn't know him through the law. We met while that stuff was kind of taking off at the same time. Eternia was because my first Canadian tour, one of the dates was North by Northeast. A lot of people don't know there's a North by Northeast. Right. Like, there's a South. It's in Toronto. Okay. So I just met her. She was on that part of that festival too, and like I was part of that festival, and that was like I said, my first time. So my family from the lawn was holding me down. Right. That's why I had somewhere to stay in Toronto, because it was just like people I never met before were in person were taking me in.
So people that you met on the road came back to the lawn, like, you know what I'm saying? After you formed a relationship.
Yeah, then I would tell them, like, boom, 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 boom.
They came back to the lawn, and that's how I learned about them. That's how other people, you know what I'm saying, learn about them. Mm-hmm. Okay, bam. Yep. Wow, man. Yep. You see what kind of work that Message Board was doing, though, man?
And like, we didn't know. We were in it. We didn't know what was going on.
I'm going to be honest with you, man. I didn't even know it was a hip-hop scene in Canada. I knew Socrates.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And Socrates Maestro Fresh West.
Right.
But I didn't know that there was a, you know.
Like a whole
scene.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Me neither. Until I was there, I was just like, okay, because I was like, at the time, into the zeros, whatever they call the aughts, the type of stuff that was prevalent in their mainstream sounding stuff was Justice League stuff.
Right, wow.
So there was times when I was in Toronto where I was walking by a club, and I heard a song of mine before.
Wow.
Then I'm walking further down the same street at a restaurant. I'm hearing D.O.T.W being played at a restaurant.
D.O.T.W is Canadian.
Detroit, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Detroit.
He is from Detroit.
Yeah,
Okay. I see what you're saying, though.
But at that time, when you were in Toronto, at that time, you were going to hear people who are down with Dilla or Detroit Taps,
right.
or you're going to hear Justus League Cats. Like, I'm not even, like, it was crazy. I had no idea.
Wow.
But they were on it. And I love Toronto to death for that. But I was like, yo, like, and I know why Frank and Dank moved from Detroit to Toronto now.
Right.
I was like, oh, okay, I see why y'all moved here now.
Right. I didn't know they relocated.
Yeah, because they had me, I didn't perform enough, but they had me at one of their album release parties. I was just there.
Right.
And I'm just looking around like, this is crazy. Like, mad people out here, like, Frank and Dank were like superstars there.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I was like, this is wild. But they were into the soulful boom bap. Mm-hmm. That was what, at that time, in the zeros, Canada was on it. And we just happened to be supplying cats with the soulful boom bap. And it was just like, wow. Yeah.
So I want to go back to when you guys said that the show in Paris was a North Carolina themed show.
Yeah.
So, are you familiar with the impact that the Justice League had on North Carolina as a whole?
Right, because looking back at it and people tell, like, you...
Right.
I can see it, but when you're in the middle of it, you don't understand.
Right,
you don't realize people are seeing now a state in a certain way.
Yeah.
We didn't have any idea.
Yeah, man. Like, they looked at North Carolina when you guys came out. First of all, there was a point where they were associated anybody that came from North Carolina is Justice League. Like, everybody. They had me in there, man, for the longest, man. Like, yo,
you from North Carolina, you in the Justice League.
Yeah, man. But nah, man, you guys' movement had such an impact, man, that that people was looking for that from everybody in North Carolina. They was looking for another,
right.
And it lasted for a number of years. Like, I've heard DJs from out of town call us a Mecca. People from across the globe call us a Mecca. They looked at us like we was like another New York, man.
Right.
And it's because of you guys. And the reason I say it's because you guys are one of the first set of musicians that came from North Carolina that claimed North Carolina.
Yeah, that's
proudly.
True. Right. Right.
A lot of our earlier musicians, they were from here, but they never.
You would think that they were all, because a lot of them got their chops and got discovered in New York City,
right.
and then lived there for a long time.
Right.
A lot in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's what they get associated with.
Yeah.
Even George Clinton don't even get associated with North Carolina.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He gets Jersey is what he gets associated with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But and the thing about me is I was somebody who sound wise is how I wanted to represent North Carolina. Like the vibe, like the feeling of the songs. Like I necessarily sometimes I would talk about NC, but very little. Like I wanted you to feel it vibrationally.
Right.
How and that's what I feel was the strongest thing. I was just never, because to me making it a gimmick to me was corny.
Yeah.
Trying to because it's just like, and another thing is like, what does North Carolina even mean? That was another thing that I was trying to figure out, because it's a huge state, and then it's like, I was like, all these people don't know each other.
All these people don't know each other.
They don't got the same sound.
And it's a melting pot of culture, man. It's really a melting pot of culture. I used to tell people that. I used to tell people like, man, like it's different sounds all over this bad boy in this one state.
Right.
You're gonna hear some cats that sound like they from Atlanta or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like right here.
Yeah.
And we're friends.
Yeah.
Just because, like all of it, I mean, a lot of us have a lot of love for each other, I would like to say, but don't think that we're all on the same vibe.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And see, and that was the thing. Like, because everybody, And I get it. Like, whoever is the most recognized whatever from a place, they're going to be like, that's the blah, blah, blah sound. That's the Philadelphia sound. That's the Detroit sound. And I get that. What my crew created is what they call the North Carolina sound. But yeah, like, there's going to be a lot of people that were influenced by that and going to be like, yo, like, I mess with that too. So I'm going to my music is going to show the influence from these guys. Right. But it's too much variation. There's too much, like, Charlotte, even the vibration in Charlotte and the vibration in the Triangle are not the same vibration. You know what I'm saying? Like the vibration in the mountains, Asheville, as far as when you talk about when you think of musically how they get down, it's not the same vibration. It's not good or bad. It's just different vibrations.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
Yeah. But you guys, man, I mean, I guess the reason that you guys, like, they looked at y'all as the torch carriers. I mean, you was one of the few groups. Well, the group. Come on, man! You guys are making records with Master Ace. You guys are making records with with Wordsworth, who was just on Tribe's album. Right. You guys are making records with Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna be looked at as, okay, that's the way to go. Right. Because they are the most successful. That's the most successful vibe. That's the most successful sound. So. But people definitely look this.
It depends on the person. Yeah. Like, because at the end of the day, you have these things that you're talking about. But still, it's like corporations don't know how to market that.
Right.
That's the big thing. They're like, we don't understand what and my view in it, because I got to look at it through the eyes of LB when they got down with Atlantic, like, so now part of my crew is on a major label at this point. Right. See, so, and then for them to, and I'm watching and I'm paying attention, and I'm a big person that, like, I love learning lessons through other people. I don't need to feel the fire. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love learning lessons watching other people. And, like, I watched and I saw how they really did not know how to market them at all. Like, Loving It, that video, that song, that was the reason that became their single, was because that was the most generic song they had. Yeah. But people don't realize it, but it was.
I never thought about that, ever.
And it's not like it's a bad song. Right. It's just generic. Right. There's no real, they're just, I'm loving it. You know what I'm saying? And, like, and the thing about it is, even as generic as that was, and as, like, that still, and this is true, and they deny it, but it's the truth. BET said that song is too intelligent for their viewers.
So somebody really said this?
That's real. Like, they try to deny it to this day. It is the truth, because I remember when it happened. And that song, as general, and this is BET, and that's the key word, is B. Right. Is the key word.
Right. Letter. It is, yes.
So, black people
said this is too
are
much.
Not intelligent enough to listen to that song. Right. Their own channel fucking said it. So that's real. So that showed me that that's a whole nother ball game that they're playing in.
That's a whole nother conversation. Yeah. That's very interesting.
Yeah. Now it's like, wow. Yeah.
But little brother signing to a major. Mm-hmm. It was important because, to me, all the accomplishments that you guys had, it bridged a gap between the industry and the underground. Right. Like, that was you guys, like, really showed that, hey, you know what? It's possible, man. Mm-hmm. Playing field, what I'm saying, it's kind of, leveling out and whatnot. Yeah. And,
depending on how you move, you can do that, because, to me, Ninth and Fonte are the biggest bridges between what you're talking about, the underground and the mainstream.
I was going to touch on that too, but I was going to do it in,
But I know myself, Pooh, Crisis. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. Us three also are not in as obvious as
Right.
those two are. Because, you know, me working like Universal has worked with me. You know what I'm saying? American Idol has worked with my music.
Did not know that.
I don't even watch that.
Right,
watch any
right.
of that stuff, but they have because they send me checks.
Right.
So I own, and that's another thing. I own all my music.
Right.
I'm as far as people who, and unless I'm thinking wrong, in JL, who's put stuff out and worked with like labels. No, I could be wrong, but I know I'm the only person that owns every song I've ever done. Like, and me and the people involved. It's no other owner of it. You know, and a lot of cats, like some cats in my crew, only in the last 2 years did they start owning their music.
Because they finally started doing the research.
And independent.
Right. Mm-hmm. You know, and I got like that maybe like I got like that maybe 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Made sure, you know, my publishing was straight. Yeah. Sound exchange. Like I just like really went in, man. Yeah. And I found out I had stuff out there, a lot of stuff out there, you know what I'm saying? And if you do your business right, man, that's something that I mean, it's not gonna be no bukus, depending on, you know.
But you never know.
Yeah, I'm about to say you never know.
If something happens and you don't own it, then you don't get the benefit.
Right, yeah. But you'll have a steady flow, you know what I'm saying, of income if you do your paperwork and whatnot. So I know what I've been receiving, so I can only imagine what you've been receiving because you got in there early. You know what I'm saying? You was on it early.
I started my ASCAP publishing company back in 2002. Yeah. So it's crazy to think about that, man. Yeah. And that's just because, and I wouldn't have known about that had I not, I wasn't talking to Flo who had talked to somebody and they were like, publishing. I'm like, what's that? So he researched it. Then I started thinking about it and he talked to me about it. And then I was like, yeah, like, why not do that? And nothing was really happening at that time. But I was like, yeah, no, I got to do that. So it was just, to me, it was like, why would you not do that?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, man, sometimes, man, you just be so into being heard. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Then you grow up in the middle of all of it, and you like, wow, okay, you know. All right, so my next question, y'all. Okay. Justice League. Mm-hmm. Justice League is this like I said, universe. I was gonna use the word pie, but I'd rather use the word universe. Okay. From the Justice League, we've gotten Little Brother. Right. We've gotten Foreign Exchange.
Well, we got because of Fonte.
That's what my what my question is about. Yeah. My question is about you clarifying everything for people that want to know or just don't know. Okay. So, like I said, Justice League, Foreign Exchange. No Foreign Exchange.
It's just Fonte.
That's right, brother. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hall of Justice.
That's Big Doe's record label.
Has nothing to do with the Justice League.
It's just some people in the Justice League happen to have been on it. That's the only connection. Okay. Yeah. But Doe obviously is in the Justice League. Right. But his record label is his thing. Okay. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Just like D.O.T.W is my thing.
Okay. Right. It's a Wonderful World music group.
That's Ninth's. That's Ninth's parent. See, that's the thing. So you have Ninth Wonder, right? Okay. The parent company is It's a Wonderful World music group. Yep. Jamula resides under that. Okay. So that's under another company of his already. Yeah.
I'm missing somebody. MCEO.
Yeah, that's Edgar Allan Flo's company. Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that I'm missing under this umbrella?
Right, like you said, FE Music is Fonte and the company. I know Pooh. He manages artists also. Yeah, right. And I don't know what that company's called, or if it even necessarily has a name. Right. But he manages like artists who are like, because I know Lute and some other people.
Right. But they definitely, but
that's their thing.
But would it be fair to say that they all derive from the Justice League umbrella?
Yeah, because without JL, none of this would have existed of anybody.
Okay.
Like, so you could say Rhapsody the same thing.
Right.
It's the Thing, Ninth, JL, Ninth, It's a Wonderful World Music Group, Jamala.
So I can make a family tree out of this whole thing.
You got to think about all the stuff that's branched out from
Right.
this one thing that me and Ninth started.
Right.
Yeah.
The state of the Justice League now.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say it is?
I would say that everybody that wasn't, all 15 of us are in the Justice League. Some of us still work together musically and are cool. Some of us don't work together musically, but we're still cool. And some of us don't work together musically, and we're not cool.
Got you. That's only fair, bro. I try to hold it, man, like for real.
That's the state.
I look at you though. I look at you as like, if it was the actual Justice League, of course, Ninth is Superman. Mm-hmm. I'll say Fonte is Batman. Okay. You know what I'm saying? They might get me for that later, but hey, man. I always looked at you as the Hal Jordan, though, bro. Like, yeah, and the reason I say that because it's like, he powerful, but he has this uncanny ability to imagine something and make it a reality.
Real.
That's what Green Lantern does.
That's I never thought about that.
That's what Green Lantern does.
His power is based off willpower.
Right,
yeah, you're right.
So,
interesting.
Yeah,
I never thought about that.
I've always looked at it, you know what I'm saying, like that. If I was to compare you guys to the other group members, I don't want to mess anything up, so I ain't gonna run out of line. But those are three that I'm sure about. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, if I get the Superman or Batman wrong, that's up for debate depending on who you talk to or whatever.
Right.
But I know Comanche is the Green Lantern, bro. Like for sure. Hold it together, no nonsense, like. He's gonna get it in, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not a deep comic head.
So would you say it was Hal Jordan or John Stewart?
Well, see, I knew I knew somebody out there was gonna get me on that. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
whoever the first Green Lantern,
yeah, I think Hal was the first one. Yeah,
yeah, whoever the first, you know what I'm saying, Green Lantern was. But you see what I'm trying to say though, for real. So, what are we working on right now?
Right now, pretty much, me and Pomac still have not actually.
I didn't touch on that.
Pushed A Promise Not to Sting yet. Like
y'all haven't pushed it?
No, like we pushed it the way we've been doing it. But we haven't toured or anything off this record.
And the reason I'm so surprised because I've been seeing that album in some spots.
That album,
and it's a very solid album. Very solid.
Thank you. It's been getting a lot of it's been getting a lot of love from like DJs and different placements per se and stuff.
So when you say worked it, you mean you guys haven't toured with it yet,
right? So we've been doing things like that, like making sure shooting. We're still not even done shooting videos for this record yet.
But most of that is because you guys released it during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And that
that's the reason.
Yeah, that set a lot of people back. So I definitely understand that. But now, that album was a nice surprise, man. Because for one, I ain't see you doing a whole album with anybody, man. Like straight up,
I never have. Like rapping, like me and
that's
somebody
what I'm saying.
Rapping.
Yeah,
I've never done it.
I just never thought, And Pomac was like, he was like a wild card, man. Like I just, Pomac, great brother, you know what I'm saying, from the mountains and whatnot, dope music. Matter of fact, we was in New York last weekend. They played some stuff of his, man, like got joints, you know what I'm saying? I didn't see you two coming together for a whole, I just didn't see that coming. And I'm like, dang, like they dropped that on us and it's fire.
See, the thing about it is, me and Pomac have known each other for a long time.
Right.
Too. And it's like, I see what you're saying. Like, when you think of maybe what you traditionally have heard, because he loves boom bap too, but like you say, he's kind of a hybrid of...
Right.
But I was already starting to formulate the ideas for that album already. I hadn't recorded anything.
Right.
Getting music from my, producers and stuff that I felt were fit a sound I was going for. And two things. So I was talking to Wordsworth, and Wordsworth said, like, you know what you need to do is you need to do a whole album with another MC. Like, Wordsworth told me that first.
Right.
And he named off some people he thought I would sound good with. And I was like, huh, yeah, that sounds interesting. He said, man, I'm telling you, you could kill it. And I was like, all right. So then a few months passed, and then Pomac was like, hey, man, hey, we should do an album together. And I was like, those two messages,
right.
I was like, I'm not going to ignore this. So since he even came to me and was like that, he had no idea Wordsworth said that to
right.
me. So I was like, okay, cool. And then what I started doing, you know, getting more music, and then I would be like, okay, so the topic is this. And I was giving them the theme of the record. The thing about it is, both me and him have a lot of stuff in common as far as, especially business-wise and attitude-wise.
That's what I was looking at. I was like, yo, these are two monsters, man.
Yeah.
Like, because Pomac has great business, you know what I'm saying, business practice too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang, man, these guys get together, man. Like, wow, the product sounds good. I know it's going to do well sales-wise too. Mm-hmm. And
it already has for us not really being able to promote it like we should. Like,
right.
And we're not done with it, like, because it's whatever. I'm promoting whatever I make to the day I die. I don't care. Like, I don't do that. This is old, because I make time with music,
right.
and I stand on that. So whenever you hear it, it's new to you, but then it's gonna grow with you as you grow.
Oh yeah.
It's not something that only fits into a time period.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you had to hear it. No, like, this is. Because when I listen to, like, Living in the City, Stevie Wonder, I don't think, like, oh, man, I missed it. Like, I don't get it. No, like, that song resonates right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the type, that's what I want. That's what I've always wanted to do with my music. So, you know, we're still going to push that along with other stuff. But the stuff I'm doing right now, as still planning on pushing that, is, like, features with other artists. Like, it's a bunch of features that still haven't come out yet that I've done in the last 2 years. Then also, you know, like, then I'm going to start up with more gear again, you know, because this type of stuff with this logo on it is what I call a standard.
Right.
So this will be my third design for the standard line. I'll be putting that out soon. Then, on top of that, you know, just keeping that going, and just making moves and getting back into actually going out and gigging again. Like, I'm not gonna necessarily do any, like, long runs like I used to, but, like, 3 or 4 dates in a row, bring it on back. 2, 3, 4 dates, like that type of stuff. I'm not gonna, like, you know, because I feel like I did that already, and I've experienced that, so it's cool, but I'm just in a different space now to where, like, gigging is still in my blood.
Oh yeah.
But I don't want to stay gone for long periods of time anymore. You know what I'm saying? Just because, you know, it's a different time now for me. But yeah, man, like, you know, dang, I'm trying to think, am I forgetting something? No, that's pretty much the general gist of whatever. Like, and I said, we still got stuff that, for A Promise Not to Sting, me and Pomac have just not got around to doing it. Because, you know, he just now bought a whole brick and mortar. Exactly. So, like, that's taking up a lot of time, too, for him.
Right.
You know. But yeah, man, just keeping it moving, brother.
Word up, man. And Comanche is so business minded. I'll never forget this, man. When you guys released A Promise to Sting, and I wanted to get it from you, I'm like, yo, you know, I'm like Comanche the homie. I ain't seen him in a minute, man. I want to slide by the crib and pick it up. But you was like, yo, that's cool, bro, but, you know, I need you to place it so they can see the numbers and whatnot. And I'm like, yo, wow. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
If I sell it to you like this,
it ain't nobody scanning, nobody, you know.
I was like, I want it to be a ledger somewhere.
Yo, man.
You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you understood.
Right. No, I did understand, bro. I mean,
Because stuff like that, man, it just shows that, man, you're to the core. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be business to the core. And that's one of the things that I really, really appreciate about you and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Real quick before we wrap up, I'm looking at the tags over there. You know what I'm saying? Can you hold up one of the tags, man?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I want to talk about that real quick, man.
These things. Let's see. Oh yeah, these are all, man.
Trophies, man. That's what they are,
these
man.
are just all...
If I'm putting you through it, I'm about to say you can just disregard if I'm putting you through it.
Nah, you cool. Yeah, these are just, man, these are all...
You want to know how dope it was, man?
Different festivals.
Right, when you got one of these to hang around your neck, man. Nobody around here was doing that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you was an artist performing on the bill...
Yeah.
If you was an artist performing on the bill, you got you a lanyard with a tag on it, man, and it just it meant so much, dude. It might have been nothing to
this
y'all.
Is the North Carolina Finest actual show. I can't show it to the people
wow,
too
that
long.
is what that was.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't because I'm not trying to put nobody on blast.
Yeah.
But man.
But these are all your show tags, right?
No,
here.
these are just like big ones. These
Man.
are just big because regular you ain't getting no lanyard for nothing for that. But
Right.
these are like some of the big ones that I still kept.
But you guys brought that practice here to North Carolina. It wasn't cats.
Oh yeah, because we made the because before we ever did that, we made the daggone. It should be right here.
Well, where have you been to a show around here, Finn? Where have you been to a show around here? And cats had the tags on. They say, "Hey, I'm performing. I'm the artist. I'm performing. I'm part of this show."
So for local shows, we used to do that. I'll be right back. I know what it is.
Yo, I ain't mean to do that. I ain't mean to do that to him, man. But we almost wrapped up. It's just that me and this guy, we have so much history, and they have put down so much stuff. You know what I'm saying for their group. You know what I'm saying. And they've shown me so much stuff that I couldn't help but go this far. You can edit this out. You want to? Come on.
Okay. Back on the scene. So this is the perfect thing right here.
That's it right there.
This was before touring. Really, this is before anything. We made like backstage passes to our own shows ourselves, and we made it, and we all wore these. And it says, we have an older one than this, but this is a 2003 one. We were probably doing these since 2001 or 2002, making backstage passes to our own shows, and we would like wear them like we was on the road officially.
Fly, man. It was so fly, man.
Yeah, so it's just crazy, man. And then and thinking about it, I didn't even think about how that was smart. Like we were just doing it because like we saw like acts and big festivals doing it when you would go to a show.
Right.
So we were like, yo, we can just do this. So yeah, man.
I guess my point is, man. I guess my point is, you guys brought a lot of culture to the area that was not here, especially for fellow musicians and whatnot.
Word.
And I'm gonna wrap it up by saying this, man. It's definitely fair to say that you guys influence a whole lot of artists that came out over the years, even some that's prominent that's out today.
Yeah, like not even from here.
That's not even from here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, listen, man, thank you for your time. Before we leave, tell the audience where we can find your music, everything else.
Okay, so my stuff go to, for music-wise, albums, whatever, CesarComanche.com. CesarComanche.com. Go there. It's got all my albums, got merch, all that type of stuff. But, I mean, my social media also is like anything at Cesar Comanche, be it, YouTube or Instagram, Cesar Comanche on Facebook. Everything is under my name. All you got to do is spell it right, and you're there.
Oh. Yo, before we leave, oh God, I'm sorry I didn't touch on this. Tell the people, especially the artists, tell them the importance of performing the jam.
Look, man. Don't fight your jam. Like, You understand? This is people like it for a reason. Whatever your jam is or jams are.
Can you tell them what the jam is? Because they might not understand.
Okay, yes. So your jam is the song that you see people, or songs you see people respond to the strongest from you. Okay? Don't get to a point where you feel like, I don't care if you performing that song 1,000 times in your life. Don't get to the point where you feel like, I'm beyond that song or whatever, this, that. Because I'm telling you, all you're going to do is piss a lot of the audience off. Because they came to hear that. This might be the only time they ever got to see you. And I don't care if it's from your first album, your second album. You got to pay attention to the response to what you do as an artist and know that if you are going to see your favorite artist and they didn't do the jam or some jams, like, you will feel sick. You don't want to make people feel like that. So don't fight it. Don't fight the jam. It's your friend. It loves you. Show it love back, and the people will follow suit. You know. I don't care if you got a new album out last week. You better fit the jam in there somehow. Until you get another jam. You know what I'm saying?
True
like,
indeed.
Fit it in there, you know?
True indeed.
Like, yeah, man. You just remind me of something else.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. He'll fix it, bro. He'll fix it. Go ahead.
Do you see? This is the only person.
No,
it was you and another cat. The only people who witnessed this with me for here. Do you remember the golden egg?
Yes, I do. I didn't want to bring it up, but yes, sir. I remember the golden egg. I do remember the golden egg. I'm like, yeah, I ain't gonna bring up the golden egg.
Never
man.
have I seen such a thing at a show in my life.
Yeah, man.
And we had to go on after this cat.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That was hard. That was the hardest performance I ever, because he didn't look. For y'all who don't understand the golden egg.
The golden egg, bro.
And it's a good, and the thing is, the dude is a cool dude, but he talked to both me and K-Hell about all his accomplishments, things like that. He was like, oh, word, like, this dude done, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So this dude goes up on stage, okay, and the show promoter introduces him. His beat starts. We're like, okay, you about to get into his beat. This dude puts the mic up to his mouth. Me and K-Hill waiting for him to rap. And then he just puts the mic back down, looks in the audience. The beat's been playing for like a minute, and he still ain't rap. And he just says, my bad, y'all. Puts the mic down and walks smooth off stage.
After hyping us up, you know what I'm saying?
Yo!
Yeah, man, the golden egg, bro.
And I caught K-Hill's eye like he was over there doing something. I looked at him and both our eyes was big like,
see, the bad thing about me is I don't have the ability to hide whatever I'm thinking. I don't have a poker face. Like, my poker face is just like, I don't have one. So if something is not right, you're going to see it. I'm still working on it. Like, God's still working with me. All of that, man. While Comanche was talking
but
while
that's
ago.
not even it, man. Here's the cold thing.
Still going, man.
The normal person, if you do that, you leave.
Yeah.
He did not leave.
That's right.
He just got off stage and got front row and just stood there.
Yeah.
And we had to perform with this dude looking right at us. It was hard, B. Like, you don't understand. I was like, I couldn't look at him.
I don't know, man. I mean, I think it was noble, man. You know what I'm saying? If you know if it ain't your night, you know, that's it. You know, just
I've never seen
step
somebody
off stage.
Smooth say. I've seen people say, yo, run it back.
Right. That's what I'm saying. He didn't do that, though.
The thing is, I don't even agree with none of that stuff.
Nah,
I don't agree with the run it back.
Right.
I don't agree with the, like, hold up, y'all. Like, I don't agree with none of that. You got to go. I don't care if you mess up. Make it look like you didn't mess up.
Just knew it was
this cat just straight up said, my bad.
That's noble. That's noble, bro.
You say, and he was like, you're not about to hear none of these other jets. That's it.
That's it. It's not my night.
Put the mic down. He wasn't mad. He just put it down like a gentleman.
Professional. Yeah.
Walk smooth.
That's right. That's right. Like, it just wasn't
and
his
then
night,
we
man.
had to, man, I couldn't look at you, definitely.
Yeah. I was like, wow, man. You know. But looking back now, I'm like, yo, he did a noble thing. Yeah, that was noble, man. Some cats would have kept going, you know what I'm saying, messed up. Me, I would have kept messing up everything. I still would have you know, carry the show on out. But this cat was like, yo, my bad, it's not my night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's it.
He
While Comanche was talking a while ago, I was looking in the back. You know, I don't want you to think I was just veering off and whatnot. This is a collection of projects that are either yours or projects that you have appeared on.
Yeah,
Am I right?
They're either mine or I'm on them. Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot.
And that's not all of them either.
I know, but
those
that's
are the
a
only
lot
ones I
of
own. Yeah,
that's a lot of physical work, bro.
yeah.
A lot of physical work over there. You know what I'm saying? All right, well, we wrapping up episode 3 of Hip Hop Beats and Things with K Hill, my man Fence the Bunny. Thank you, Cesar Comanche, for giving us your time.
Thank y'all.
I know we talked a lot, man, and you know what? We could have talked even longer, but we're not trying to do a podcast that's longer than a movie. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We just want to give you the real valuable chunks and whatnot. And until we see you again, Hip Hop Beats and Things. Brother, thank you. Thank you so much.